Welcome to the 52nd episode of Growing Up Geek, the weekly podcast for geek entertainment and nostalgia. My name is Brad, and I am joined by a fellow geek, my brother Rob.
A fellow geek from the same loins, but yeah.
But how are you?
I am doing well. I'm slightly sore from the holidays.
Yes, I should say, chappy cholidays to you.
Happy holidays, indeed.
Is that what that is?
I wasn't quite sure how to put that, but that's my status on Xbox.
Yeah, what is that?
Thing. Well, you know what I realized? It's just like, you know what? This doesn't have to be a static thing that just stays there. It used to be kill some different from Mystery Science Theater.
Great quote.
But as I was like changing my clothes regularly, and I'm just like,
I hope so.
Giving my guy a winter look, and I was just like, you know what? I can just change this anytime I need to. Why not just change what he's saying anytime I need to match stuff? Because that's gonna be. It's so much more accessible now. You just go over it and it pops up, and there it is. So I changed it. So
Happy Holidays reminds me of the Hanukkah song. I don't know if you remember that Kids Bop. Oh, Hanukkah, light the menorah.
Yeah, it's a great piece.
Yeah. It sounded like a System of a Down song.
It was,
the whole, gather around the table, we'll give you a treat.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Thank you.
I mean, Kids Bop, Hanukkah. Check it out. It's in stores now.
Somehow we're advertising that at the beginning?
Well, there's going to be a lot. This
Bring it back.
Is almost a... crap, who's the director who did Transformers?
I don't know. Transmorphers?
Who's the...
Have you seen that, by the way?
Yeah. No, I haven't, but I haven't brought myself to watch it, but I know of its existence.
It's one of those things designed just like Ranger Powers or whatever.
Right.
Designed purely to fool grandmothers. You know?
Exactly. Ranger Powers.
And we'll be getting into geek gifts later, but why don't we bring this sucker back?
Yeah.
I don't know. What was your director reference there? I don't know.
Oh, who's the director for Transformers? It's
Michael Bay.
Yeah, this episode of Growing Up Geek might as well be directed by Michael Bay because of the amount of product placement that's going to be in it. So
I don't know why.
I mean, might as well
why
say we don't have sponsorship or anything.
No.
None of these people are paying our bills. It's just that we're going to be talking about stuff we like, and that's
true.
That's how geeks do.
Yeah, that's how we do.
Yeah.
We lost our battle with geek loss. I don't know what that meant. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Let's get into the news. This is going to be a fast-paced show.
Woo!
We're going to try to cover a lot in one show. So every week we like to address our favorite news stories, the geeky news that we've liked the best. What is yours this week?
All right, well, the first one to be addressed...
You have two quick ones.
Two quick ones, yeah. First thing going on is PlayStation Home. The beta is opening tomorrow. It is coming out. This is PlayStation 3's avatar-based social networking service, which is like Second Life, but you buy stuff and you put it there.
Just tell us what you really think
people
about it.
It's stupid.
I gotta say,
gosh,
you've hated on this thing before.
Yeah,
people know, and I think you were telling me before we started the show. Look, you didn't want to be another Sony hater.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You tried to keep it real. But it seems like that is slipping for you.
It's slipping for me, man. I mean, just NXE is so great, the new Xbox experience, and I'm enjoying how
product
fun
placement number one.
Everybody looks on there. Like, yeah, you're making your character kind of look like you, but the more you try and go for real, the more creepy it's gonna look. It's something referred to as the uncanny valley. And PlayStation
Home,
be an
uncanny valley.
It's gonna be a bunch of neutered mannequins walking around, just kind of.
Why neutered? I don't understand.
Because they're unable to do anything fun. They're just
oh my god, that was weird.
Sorry, I mean like play games and stuff like that. I mean, they'll be like, let us interact in this. Look at my Sony television. And one thing I also hate is that this thing is filled with terrible product placement that nobody in the geek world cares about. Like one of the
it's like the disconnect.
Yeah, they have like
Paula Abdul and Guitar Hero.
Exactly. They have retailers in here that, like, I don't even know. Linge Rosette is going to be providing furniture for your house. It's like, yay, I have furniture, and Red Bull is going to be sponsoring it. And, wonderfully, I get a Red Bull hat, and I get to walk around.
We know you're not a fan of it, but, I mean, let's be honest. You're going to check this out. You're going to play this.
I will play this if
Can it be played? I don't know if that's the right word for it.
Yeah, I will experience it. And that's the thing is, like, I'm thinking, boy, if you have, like, a good game, like, you would rather just do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see where, like, if you're, like, a fan of, like, Animal Crossing, this is something fun. You're like, well, I've been playing this, and I've gotten to the point, and look at my house, and it's really nice. But I really don't see it structured in a way where it's going to be accessible like that. It's kind of just roaming around like, visit my house, 300 gold, 300 gold.
It's
epic
strange.
Sword for sale.
Yeah, inviting strangers into your home.
Exactly.
The new gaming? I don't know.
Right.
But we'll find out, I guess, tomorrow.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I should say we're recording this Wednesday, so by the time this is out, it is also out. Yeah. Home is available. But that was your first little snugget.
Yeah.
What else do you got there? You had one other quick one.
Well, speaking of Avatar-based social network, we're going to talk about Avatar, The Last Airbender, is being turned into a movie.
It is.
Which is awesome. Has nothing to do with Avatar, the James Cameron project. However, it is being directed by one of our favorite directors / writers, M. Night Shyamalan, which is cool. I mean, I'm excited about it. It's kind of weird because it's the first unoriginal property that he's working with.
Yeah, this is not his material. This is a Nickelodeon television cartoon.
Right.
That is pretty awesome, I gotta say, especially considering that it's sort of marketed towards kids. It's a quality anime / I guess Korean, I don't know, animated story.
It's really well done. I mean, it's not just for kids. I mean, anybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think it just had its ending. I think the show is now over, so it's ripe for film adaptation.
So my reaction, M. Night, iffy, you know. He's a horror director. He's also kind of more of like a down-to-earth thinker when it comes to how to approach a situation. And he's never really been good at special effects. So I'm wondering, is this going to work? I mean, I'm excited about the pairing, but it's maybe, you know, a little too much like ranch dressing and peanut butter.
Together at last.
That's not quite
now he's got a cast announced. That was sort of the part of this news, and they're child actors. I don't recognize any of them.
Yeah.
Except for the one was like a teen pop star.
Okay.
But they looked like they could probably look the part. I mean, they're kids, and it's about kids. I think it's a relative unknown. A karate trained kid is going to play Aang, who's the main character, the bald-headed, last airbender in the title.
Okay.
So that could be cool. I always like when there's an unknown.
Okay.
So that was your reaction, M. Night. You're nervous.
I'm nervous.
He's had such a bad experience lately. I'm not saying we don't like his films, but I mean, critically, he's been doing very badly, and I'm sure that he's hoping to maybe reboot a little bit here, catch his breath.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. We're still rooting for you, M. Night.
Right.
Manoj Night.
Manoj.
Manoj.
Okay.
So the next story, the last story for you, quick one.
Yeah. There's an image leak. My third story, actually, this is, and this is Hideo Kojima has released a image on his website about the next Metal Gear, and it says the next Metal Gear is, and it basically is I plus exclamation point equals power logo,
and it's green,
and it's green.
It's some sort of like mathematical equation.
Right. I really think this has to be not a sequel to Metal Gear, but actually
that would be a lie.
Exactly. The port of Metal Gear 4 onto the 360, possibly.
Yeah.
Because that logo, the power logo, green, is so much associated with the 360.
Yeah, I mean, there's been speculation that this could be about the iPhone because it has an I in it, but honestly, like comparing the 360, logo to the and the iPhone and everything, I think that's the most likely because it's green.
Right.
Do you think like Hideo Kojima just like photoshopped this at home and then just like uploaded it to his blog?
I don't know. I mean, it has some luminosity.
I mean, like this is a man who consistently says he's done.
Yeah.
But then he says stuff that's like horrifying, like if they try to make Snake and they don't do it justice, I'll have to come back even though I don't want to. Like he's trying to get away from Metal Gear.
He loves this intellectual property though. His heart is set on it. I don't know what the I might stand for, though, if it is iPhone. I think it could just be the subtitle, because he always does that. It was like Metal Gear Solid Subsistence when it came over to the Xbox. I mean, Metal Gear has had a tendency to port over.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to stay a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
No, I don't think it will.
Tends to trend over, and he also tends to add a lot of weird stuff. Like I think there was skateboarding in one of the things.
It gets into weird areas, but I think that's part of the charm of Metal Gear at this point. Yeah. It's expected.
Absolutely. That's exciting-ish. I don't know. That's fine. That's as much as you can say. You can go there, look at the picture, and draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. So that is your news story. I'll quickly do mine here. We're going to keep it fast-paced if possible. This week, my favorite news story, the new Saturday Night Live digital short that went up this week and is circulating around the internet. I'll phrase it in the way it is on Hulu, which is like the tastefully named Jay in My Pants. Have you seen this?
No.
Basically, the new digital short this week was a song about an embarrassing problem, but it was done with Andy Samberg and his buddy Yorma. And when I saw Yorma in there, Amber and I both went, oh boy. Because, for those who don't know, before Andy Samberg was on Saturday Night Live, he was a part of an internet comedy group called The Lonely Island, which I know you're a fan of.
Absolutely.
I mean, before there was a YouTube, when there was an iFilm and Adam Films and those places, I discovered them on there and sort of followed them religiously, like all their comedy, and they did like rap songs and things, always about like really weird stuff, but like with a full sense of seriousness, commitment. Mm-hmm. And that's what this song is like. Now, here's the part that got me so excited. When Andy Samberg was signed to Saturday Night Live, Yorma and Akiva also were signed, his two buddies, but they write for the show. They don't actually appear.
Yeah.
And when I saw him standing next to Andy at the beginning of this music video, it's like German techno, like club music, and they're dressed in like trendy clothes and stuff. I was like, oh, please let it be. Because Yorma, he sang a lot, and Akiva too, on The Lonely Island, but they never did, they've never broken out into the public. So midway through this video, Yorma starts rapping, and I was like, oh, nice. Like I like exploded, basically, which is why I called you immediately, and I was like, I know my news story for this week. Got so excited. Amber, too, we were like pumping our fists because we're like, national television audience is now seeing Yorma's skills. And watch for the appearance of Justin Timberlake as the janitor in the back of the supermarket. But the reason why is because this is actually the first single off of the Incredibad album, which will be in stores February 10th. Yeah. It's an actual CD of their music. Which Incredibad, for people who don't know, that's what The Lonely Island sort of called their fake band. Like all of their videos would have Incredibad on them.
Yeah.
So I'm rambling like an idiot here because I love Lonely Island, but I mean it's like I'm excited beyond belief for them to actually get out as Lonely Island or like as Incredibad. Yeah.
It's sort of like Lonely Island's coming out party finally. So.
Right. A lot of people just, they're familiar with Andy Samberg, but not that. And it's like, oh, so now all we need is Chester, if you watched.
Right. Who are all featured in the movie Hot Rod, and hopefully they can get their own feature film like put together eventually. Check that out, lonelyisland.com, and also Awesome Town.
Oh, yes.
All of it is golden.
Watch Jack Black's incredible intro to Awesome Town, which was their failed pilot for Fox. It's amazing. It's amazing. Right. He's playing George Washington, and he's like, "What, you think I don't know what I'm talking about because I've discovered America and junk?"
Yeah.
It's really good.
Well, we got to move on.
We got to move on here. So let's move on to our main topic of discussion, which this week is going to be the top gift ideas for geeks.
Yeah.
Hey, you have a girlfriend.
Yeah, I do. and you have a wife.
And I have a wife. What? Wait a minute. Are we on the wrong show?
And hopefully many of you out there are girlfriends or wives or have geeks in your lives and are just wondering, what can I get them?
Yeah, this is the time people start scratching their head. Okay, I don't really understand what he or she is into, but what can I do? So we're going to try to lend our experience here in this area, what little we have. And I'm going to start off with you, Rob. First of all, where's a great place to find geek gifts?
Well, I mean, obviously, online, you got places like ThinkGeek and Newegg and ExtremeGeek.com. These are all, like, cool places to go that sell a lot of stuff.
They cater.
Yeah, I was reading a list of, like, the top, like, walk-in stores, and it turns out, like, Costco is actually a really cool place to go.
It is,
Their selection isn't the best, but their prices are amazing.
Really good.
Big shout out to Micro Center. No particular reason, but
no particular reason.
That's a good place to go. They carry Think Geek merchandise in the store, so it eliminates that extra barrier of, do I want to give out information on the internet? You just be like, here's a shirt with the caffeine molecule on it.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a store like, gosh, remember Media Play? They closed it down. If anybody out there has a Media Play, they sold anime, action figures, T-shirts, DVDs up the wazoo, music. They were really geek-focused.
Yeah,
they
check
had all those fetishes.
I would say FYE or For Your Entertainment is a good place to go, especially go to the back shelf area. That's usually, I know it's
seedy.
I know it's seedy, but like you'll find things like the merch doll and anime and posters and stuff. And I'm going to say, like, here's one of my big tips. Check clearance at all these places. This time of year, one thing retailers want to do is they want to sell you a lot of premium stuff, but they also just want to get rid of all this extra stuff that they have laying around.
Surplus, liquidate.
So they want to liquidate their surplus, and
I can't believe you just said that.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
It's a great time. You'll find games for like $2, and these are like, some of these aren't bad games at all. They might be kind of old, but Deus Ex and things like that. And so maybe rather than the quality of gift, you can go on quantity of gift.
That's
just
true
like
too.
Loading up on DVDs and in games that are just like $1.19 each.
Yeah, and you can always ask a knowledgeable nerd at the store. What's a real quick store that has knowledgeable salespeople that aren't just, I think there's a Sega Jaguar.
I gotta say Micro Center.
Okay. Well, all right, let's move on here before we
This is according to, I think Newsweek was doing a report on these. They listed the top 10, and they were number 3.
For knowledgeable people,
for service, because Best Buy employees don't make commissions, so they don't really know anything. They just kind of hang around and make money.
All right, well, so there's a few places to get stuff. So now what we're going to do is load up the shotgun and fire out as many geek gift ideas as we can. Let's keep this rapid fire, less than a minute each, if we can.
Sure.
I'll start. The complete Batman animated series. Is available for $70-something. It's not a bad deal on Amazon. Again, this will sound like hideous product placement. I'm going to mention Amazon a lot, but that is an amazing cartoon series. It has Clayface. It has lots of awesomeness. And hey, if you haven't watched Batman the Animated Series, you got a problem. You need to rectify that. Amazon.com. Boom.
Oh, yeah. Also, DVDs that you need to rectify. The complete Monty Python Flying Circus box set is out.
Oh, and also nice.
That is a geek's dream because every geek practically speaks Monty Python as a language. So get that. I believe that's around $90. You should be able to find it at various retailers, around the world.
So, prices of participation may vary.
Exactly.
The Geek Swiss Army knife. This is 85 tools in one 9-inch wide, 2-pound. You can't even really call it an Swiss Army knife. This won't fit in your pocket. It's basically almost a gag gift. But it is 85 useful tools packed into one massive knife. It has a laser pointer, a wood saw, a toothpick, a wire stripper. It's just it has like every form of screwdriver, things that would then like inflate your bicycle, like a ruler. So Geek Swiss Army knife, that's available. Think Geek and places like that.
Okay, the Dream Cheeky MSN Missile Launcher. This is a remote-controlled kind of Nerf missile launcher with a camera strapped to it that you can access over MSN and shoot at people with MSN.
No, that's dangerous.
I think iFanboy or some podcasts out there actually are now having that. Whenever they're broadcasting their show, people can log in and shoot missiles at them.
I know what you're talking about. The missile doesn't have a camera. It's like the launcher has a camera.
The launcher has a camera,
and you can actually fire it remotely.
Yeah, these little like plush missiles. Yeah, it's a totally sweet thing. It's like $55.
That sounds awesome, dude. Okay, so for me, Star Wars Vault. It's a book. And it has packed into its pages all of the Star Wars memorabilia. Really cool stuff. Reprints of tickets from the original screening.
Wow.
Posters. And the prized possession in this is a reprint on notebook paper of George Lucas' first draft in like 1979 or like 78 of The Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
It's his handwritten, intro that says, Luke Skywalker rides on his snow lizard, and then in parentheses he writes Tauntaun. It's super awesome. It's called the Star Wars Vault. I think it's like an $80 book. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can find that on Amazon, places like that.
Okay. The 8-bit necktie.
Yes! This was going to be one of mine. Yes, I will buy this.
Neckties are a big part of geeks, especially like the young professionals, and always a big part of Christmas. For some reason, neckties just always seem to show up, and they're kind of a labored gift. But this one is definitely fun because it looks like a big pixelated 8-bit necktie from like Nintendo days, and
it's literally pixelated.
That I think is a Think Geek exclusive.
Yeah,
you might want to look that up. But that's definitely one worth getting as far as apparel goes.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. Amazon MP3 store gift card.
Ooh.
By this point, if you haven't realized that geeks have migrated away from iTunes, you just need to wake up. So I'm offending millions of listeners.
Exactly. It's still the world's most popular music store, but everybody's just like, what? And letters from angry Apple fans.
So I'll probably edit that out. But the Amazon MP3 store sells 256K MP3s, high quality, for like 89 cents.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And they sell gift cards, so get on that.
Yeah, and while we're at it, I was just realizing you can, just for under $50, get a good 4 gigabyte MP3 player. And here's my suggestion to people out there. This is maybe geeks to your parents or something like that. It's a great idea to take their music library and condense it for them.
Yeah.
MP3 players pretty cheap these days.
All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and take it from there and go expensive, and that is a Blu-ray player.
Yes.
Format war is over. It's time to get on with our Blu-ray, and the good news is that Blu-ray is being adopted much quicker than DVD was. There are already $10 and $15 DVDs. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, Blu-rays. Still getting used to that. Big on the list would be Dark Knight, which came out just recently. Amazon has that. A Band of Brothers on Blu-ray is only like $43 or something like that. So those are good deals. Check those out.
Awesome stuff. While we're on premium gifts, GPSs are now in a pretty sweet spot.
Slobber.
They're around the $150 to $200 area. Even you might be able to get better than that at some point.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, they've worked it out so that they really know where they're taking.
Yeah.
I've used mine, and it's just fun. If you could get one that uplinks and updates regularly, that's going to be the best idea, because you want that information to be up to date and not a year old.
Yeah, sounds good. GPS is always awesome.
Exactly.
I'm going to take it from there and do my last one here, which is Sideshow Collectibles. That is a website that has insane high-quality replicas of props from movies, a.k.a. the lightsabers, the Spartan sword from the 300, the Cyclops visor, the Velociraptor versus T-Rex from Jurassic Park. They've even got a life-size Predator spear.
Wow.
Okay? That is hardcore. The T1, the Terminator's arm from T2, like life-size. Now, these are pricier gifts. Obviously, we're staying at the high end here at the end. But, if you're going to spend $300 or whatever, imagine the life-size Predator spear next to your Geek of Choice's desk or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So check out Sideshow Collectibles, and that's going to have to be my last one. We'll wrap this up here.
Well, my last gift, I guess I finally have to recommend, the Screaming Superfly Monkey. Do
it.
This thing...
I almost don't want you to explain it.
Exactly, that's it. Do it. It's like $7. But I've not had more fun with an item. We have some at our store, and we just sneak them out of their packaging every once in a while. They're these monkeys that you pull their hands back. They have like rubber bands, and you send them flying at people. And it triggers an audio in the monkey that causes it to scream as it's flying through the air. It's an immediate gratification, and I think like on Christmas Day, that's something so important. You don't want something that's going to take an hour to set up, or it's a subscription and you have to wait for a month for it to come in the mail. You want something that's just like you open your package and you go.
That's genius. So this thing just launches out of its package screaming.
Exactly. And it's a monkey. And it has a cape, and you can get that cape in various colors.
Whoa, you didn't say there was a cape. All right, I got to stop the show and go get one.
All right.
Well, it's amazing how much longevity there is in monkeys.
Yes.
Every once in a while I'm like, shut up about monkeys, but then something like that happens, and it's like, yeah, they're back.
They're really the geek's best friend.
Awesome. So before we close out the show, we always like to get a little nostalgic. This is Growing Up Geek.
Absolutely.
So let's roll back the wheel of time and see where it lands this week. Babysitters.
Oh man.
Despite what the ladies in our lives may say, we are old enough to be left alone, but there was a time when we were not. Yeah. And let's give a shout, if we may.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. We got like Mary.
I think there was two Marys, actually.
Wasn't there like a Chad, I think?
Was there a guy?
There was a guy I think we had once. Then we have various relatives, like grandfather.
Yeah. I had a crush on the one.
Really?
On Mary A.
Oh, yeah?
It's like two, and I told Amber about it beforehand. She's like, don't mention their last name. And I was like, okay, all right. So, excuse me, Mary, who shall remain anonymous, last name. I had a crush on her, I think, and I remember because I tried to impress her with our Three Caballeros demonstration.
I think you mentioned this before on the show.
Okay, yeah, there's a Disney cartoon, Three Caballeros, and there's like Donald Duck and the Spanish one and whatever.
Yeah.
And we were dancing in front of her, and I remember I had like a peso for real, and there's a part in the song where he says, we're bright as a peso, and he holds out a peso, and I was so excited to do that part for her. I'm like, this is when I was little, okay?
Yeah.
But I busted this peso out, and she was completely unimpressed.
This was 3 days ago?
Yeah, exactly, at her house.
Yeah.
Why won't you let me in?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, she did not return the crush, but she was much older than me, much older woman. But she had a crush on Italian singing sensation Carmen.
Yeah.
And also Dukes of Hazzard's Tom Wopat.
All right.
Both of whom she would say, if Carmen showed up at my door, I would faint. And I hear this even today from girls, like, if Brad Pitt showed up at my door, and I'm always thinking, like, why would he show up at your door?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does his limousine break down, like, in your neighborhood, and he's like, I need to go knock on a door, we're going to need help. No, he sends his lackey to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I met Bam Margera by accident, so it happens.
That's true. Did you faint?
No. But my girlfriend got a little, like, wobbly in the knees, but that's okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Okay, so babysitting memories. Do you have a...
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, my favorite was Mary P.
Okay. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
Well, this mainly because of her prowess with Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
She was able to reach the final stage and beat Bowser, and this was incomprehensible. And it was enough to make me forgive the time where she chucked me across the room, and I landed on my head.
Ouch! I didn't remember that.
Well, she was just doing she was like playing with us, and she did this thing where like we would put our stomach on her foot. She'd like lay on the ground, and she'd kick us off, and we'd go flying, but like into the couch or something, like
we'd go flying
and land.
Just saying that.
Well, it was a rougher time. It was the early 90s. There were still sharp edges back then.
Okay, so you went flying onto your head, but you forgave her because she could beat Mario Brothers.
Yeah, she could beat Mario Brothers. She introduced us to Bionic Commando, which was her brother's game.
That's right. Holy crap! I just remember that. She also introduced us to Superman 4. I want to say, which is the one with Nuclear Man.
That's
and John Cryer as
5,
Lenny,
isn't it?
Okay, 5. Yeah, Christopher Reeve directed it and then kind of gave up.
It was terrible.
There's a scene where they fly into outer space and they can breathe. Like a girl from Earth can breathe on the moon. It's like, whoops, But I remember she was really into like John Cryer, and he was in there as like this punk, and I had never experienced like the punk scene, obviously. So, and it was really new to me, and it was fascinating because I was like, hey, he does seem cool. I wonder why. Like, why is he so cool? And now you look at it, it's totally dated, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I had to, Amber was babysitting this week, and I had to just bring up. It brought up memories of our babysitter, like that smell of mom's perfume would be in the air, and you would know they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
I've left money for pizza. That's just a golden phrase. I've
empty
left money
promises.
For pizza. Yeah. Well, no, it was like because it's all launching kids into couches after that or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, so that's some of the babysitters in our life. If you have any memories of growing up geek and you want to share them with us, you can. Our website is www.growing-up-geek.com. Once again, I'm Brad.
Screaming Superfly Monkey!
Yo, what up, my feathered stork? Peace, you lovely. Hollow legs, long, big feathers, so cuddly. Yo, I wanna step to you, stork, but I don't know how. Your style's mad intimidating, makes me go wild.
30 days, 30 nights on my ex you sitted. Cause you always been committed till the day I was acquitted. Lovely, eating baby crocodiles and insects. Let me be your park ranger and your sanctuary pretext. Ooh.